Hey now, welcome to another edition of the Winnipeg Sports Talk post-game reaction. Michael Remis in the host chair. I'll be joined by Connor Hrabchak. We're going to be doing these post-game reaction videos throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs after every Winnipeg Jets game. But what better way to get started with a game that had a playoff-like atmosphere? The Winnipeg Jets and Dallas Stars. The Jets can really, put the nails on the Central Division title, the Western Conference with a win. Big, important game. You might say the biggest game of the year. And this one certainly delivered. Let's bring him in. Winnipeg Sports Talk contributor, WST Sunday Live here on the channel at 9 a.m. Winnipeg Jets Weekly on Monday mornings. Connor Hrabchak. Connor, what's going on? How are you feeling here on this Thursday evening?
Feeling good. I mean, that was such an awesome game. I mean, it was hyped up as a big game. And when it's been hyped up as a big game this year, this Jets team has delivered. And this is just another example of that. A big 4-0 win in Dallas, pushing their chances to win the division at 99.9% per money puck. You covered that on the big show today. So yeah, lots to like about this game, and we're going to cover it all. Let's do it.
Yeah, the Winnipeg Jets magic number down to 1. The tiebreaker is regulation wins. So Dallas, if they win all their 3 games and the Jets lose their 3 games, Dallas would take it. They need to get 1 point in the remaining 3 games. Saturday, Chicago, Sunday, Edmonton, Wednesday, Anaheim. But we're here to recap tonight's game, and coming into it, you had to be excited if you're a fan of the Winnipeg Jets. Neil Pionk making his return from injury, and Nikolai Ehlers as well. He was a game-time decision. He was also a game-time decision on Monday's game and did not suit up. But today, for the first time in a while, both of them, and huge boost to that second line to have Nikolai Ehlers back with Cole Perfetti and Vlad Namestnikov.
For sure. And that line was very good. I mean, the common critique of that second line with Ehlers, Namestnikov, and Perfetti is that they're too small and they'll get crushed in the playoffs. This was a playoff style game and a playoff environment against a playoff team on the road, and they were great. You look at the analytics from Natural Stat Trick here. They controlled the shots when they were on the ice, 8-2 in the Jets' favor when that line was on the ice. They were unable to score in the game, but the scoring chances were 7-2 when that line was on the ice. So a big boost to get Nikolai Ehlers back into the lineup. We saw the Jets, kind of move without him on Monday and put together a strong performance without him, but we know the importance of Nikolai Ehlers into the lineup. And then Dylan Samberg and Neil Pionk. I mean, it didn't look to me like Neil Pionk had missed 12 games. Watching him in this one, he looked like he picked up right where he left off and really stabilized that second unit with Dylan Samberg. So I think both of those players coming back from injury, they looked great.
Yeah, I thought the game started off with some great pace. You could tell the Jets were playing with speed, really looking to finish their checks in the corner, especially that fourth line. Morgan Barron, we've talked for weeks how he's coming into his own at center. You look at his NHL edge stats, he's one of the faster players in the NHL, and I thought that fourth line with Jared Anderson-Dolan and Brandon Tanev was really buzzing. Nino Niederreiter, he had a shot on goal. We saw Nikolai Ehlers make a nice move over the line, pass to Perfetti, just missed his stick. And there was some, toward the end of the period, some really good movement and pressure. Kyle Connor had a couple of chances going in the middle with the backhand, but the Jets did get on the board, with just under 3 minutes left. It was Nino Niederreiter tips a puck, point shot from Josh Morrissey after his zone entry. Just a really nice play there by the third line to get on the board.
Yeah, for sure. And Nino Niederreiter is a guy, he had the goal drought, the extended goal drought over the past couple of months there, and then he broke it by banking it off of a defender's skate. That's not a real goal. All goals count the same, but this is a real goal from Nino Niederreiter, going to his office, deflecting that goal home. Like you said, I agree. The Jets played with great pace, especially in the first period. And this goal was an example of it. Josh Morrissey stepping up into the play, getting a great point shot. Nino Niederreiter screening the goalie, gets a stick on it. And that's what Nino Niederreiter does. When the third line is at their best, they're creating chaos. They're getting screens in front of the goalie and they're tipping pucks. And that's what Nino Niederreiter did on this goal. And it was late in the first period. And for a game that you could tell in the first period was going to be tight checking, goals were going to be hard to come by, especially for the Dallas Stars, as we ended up seeing. Getting the first goal on the road was huge. We all know how that Dallas game played out on Tuesday when they were winning 5-2 and then gave up 3 goals in the final minute and ended up losing. Coming into this game, the opening goal was going to be huge. If you could jump on Dallas emotionally coming off of that loss, I thought that would be huge. And they did that with this goal. And it's nice to see Nino Niederreiter contribute because he's one of the hardest working Jets night in and night out. And sometimes he doesn't get rewarded for his efforts, but this was a nice goal.
Yeah, it was Appleton threw it cross ice, and Niederreiter kind of tipped it over the air to Lowry, who gave it back to Morrissey, who shot it. And Niederreiter is all alone in front of the net. No one around. It was almost like they're doing a practice tip drill, and he tipped it past Jake Ottinger. Certainly a tough one. And I think after that, Dallas was kind of just wanted to get out of the period. They started flipping pucks toward the end of the night, trying to run out the clock. And I'm looking at natural stat trick. They had high danger chances as at 5-on-5, 5-1 for Dallas. I'm not necessarily sure I agree with that. It seemed like the Jets had a couple of chances. I thought Kyle Connor had a couple near the end. Iafallo. I don't know. It seemed like for Connor Hellebuyck, he just made every save throughout this game look easy. And if there was any shots in close, that he's gonna save everything. He saw all of them, and that's kind of why he got a shutout. But it was I agree, very, very tight checking there. Not a lot of ice for in that first period.
Totally. And I think one thing that you'll see is okay, they said Dallas had 5 high danger chances. Well, I know for a fact they had a few low to high passes right kind of in the slot, but kind of really close to Connor Hellebuyck, almost too close. We know Connor Hellebuck's always in position, big and boring. And that's technically a high danger chance because of the location it comes from on the ice. But Connor Hellebuyck is so positionally sound and so big that there's no chance that puck is going in. And that's why he's the MVP. And that's why he's the best goalie in the league. He makes tough saves look routine. And even when a team like Dallas, it says they have 5 high danger chances, and we both come out of that period going, what? No way they had 5. Maybe if we went back and watched it, the location of those shots would dictate 5 high danger chances. And Hellebuyck just makes it look so routine that as a fan, we're not sitting there watching and thinking, oh, that's a high danger chance against, because Hellebuyck just makes it look so easy.
Yeah, here we can just pull up the shot chart here on Money Puck. I mean, I think a lot more clusters for the Jets around Dallas's net as opposed to Dallas. I thought Dallas was taking a lot of shots from distance throughout the game. To note, the Jets held them to under 30 shots. They have this, I think it's 18 games now in a row or something. They've held their opponent to under 30 shots and did that to Dallas tonight. Heading into period 2, I thought Jason Robertson had one of the better chances. A shot from close, but it didn't hit the net. He hit off the side of the net, and then it was Morgan Barron for the second game in the row.
Deja vu.
Taking the puck through the neutral zone, dangling a defenseman, and basically scoring the same goal where he has on the backhand, and then he goes to forehand on his off wing and puts it on the far side. It was past Binnington on Monday, but past Ottinger. And I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking about Morgan Barron. It seems like, talking about players having career years. This guy is having a little bit of a breakout here since moving to center.
Yeah, I guess Jake Ottinger didn't get the Morgan Barron pre-scout file, because that goal was the exact same goal as the one on Monday. Morgan Barron using his great speed, using his body to protect the puck, and then when he gets in close, goes backhand, forehand, and beats the goalie blocker side. And I've said this on WST Sunday Live as well, but a lot of people forget the fact that Morgan Barron was hurt in the playoffs last year, but since moving to center, he has been such an effective 4C for this Winnipeg Jets team. And if this is the Morgan Barron that they're going to get into the playoffs here, this is such a big boost for the Winnipeg Jets fourth line, because Morgan Barron, we know he's a 6'4", 220-pound center that can skate. And even those are a hot commodity in the NHL nowadays. But if he can kind of emerge some of that skill that we see flash now and then, that is such a big asset for the Winnipeg Jets. And this goal, I talk about how important the opening goal was. Well, to get that insurance marker and go up 2 with Connor Hellebuyck, I'm not sure what the stats are, but I'm sure the Jets are one of, if not the best team in the league at any point in a game when leading by 2 goals, because they have one of the best defensive structures in the league. And then when you get through that defensive structure, you have to beat the best goalie in the league. So to go up 2-0 on the road is huge here. And Morgan Barron, scoring the exact same goal as Monday. I was laughing watching that goal because it was literally the exact same goal as the one from Monday. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to start calling that one the Baron when you pull it out in your league game or on the street, wherever you're playing hockey this time of year. And Dallas, again, I thought they had a lot of shots from distance, and the Jets were playing hard. They were finishing their checks. I mean, you really have saw the depth with Barron scoring and Niederreiter scoring the third and fourth lines, bringing it. The top line got into it later on, but they did note on the broadcast 7 minutes left in the second. They had 32 hits at that point in the game. The season high of hits was 37. The Jets finished with 44 hits, and I know Luke Schenn had a lot of those, Brandon Tanev as well, and those guys were working. And I thought the best chance of the night was Maverick Bourque ended up in the slot alone on Connor Hellebuyck, but he came out and stopped it. He made it look very easy. And this is Maverick Bourque. This isn't Robertson or Rantanen. So I think the odds of him beating Hellebuyck clean from there rather than one of those guys lower. But another sign the Jets playing tough. Sandberg taking Rantanen down hard in the corner. Jared Anderson-Dolan. I mean, he's really made an impact here. And we did see the first penalty of the game. And I promised myself, Connor, that I wasn't going to get mad about the officiating here, as his team seems to get inconsistent when it comes to playoff time.
Good luck with that.
But it was Nikolai Ehlers with a slashing, and what's been a tight game, he gets called for. I don't know what you saw. It looked like he was just trying to go for a loose puck, and he love tapped Lyubushkin's stick with his stick as he tried to get around him, and he dropped the stick, and he ended up with a chance, and they thought they had to call it. I don't know where you stood on that penalty, but hey, it's a 2-0 game, and Dallas is a pretty strong power play, and they're about to go on it.
Yeah, I didn't like the call. It's sort of like you see a lot of hits along the wall, or you see a lot of like near tripping penalties, but because the player doesn't fall, they don't call it. This is like, I think, clear cut because his stick hits the ice, they call it a slash. Like if this happens a million times a game and the player holds onto their stick and it doesn't get called, but because the stick falls out of Lyubushkin's hands, it gets called a penalty, and it's just unfortunate for the Jets. But just to go back, you said Dallas was taking a lot of shots from the outside. I actually noted down here, I thought the Jets were doing a great job clearing shot lanes. So when Connor Hellebuyck was able to see pucks, obviously we know he's going to stop it. But Dallas seemed to be doing a lot of point shots, and they were trying to get traffic in front. They were trying to get high tips, but the Jets were doing a great job boxing out and making sure that Hellebuyck could see the shots coming. And I thought that paid dividends in Connor Hellebuyck's 8th shutout of the season, and was a big reason why maybe Dallas, for times of this game, had possession of the puck and were pressing on the Jets, but it never felt like they were threatening. And then the one time that they did in the second period, at least, Maverick Bourque wide open in the slot, definitely a defensive breakdown there. Connor Hellebuyck's up to the task, but I thought the Jets did a great job boxing players out and making sure that Hellebuyck could see the puck in this game, especially.
Yeah, just looking at the advanced goalie stats here on Money Puck, Connor Hellebuyck, 2.65 goals saved above expected. When you have a shutout, you're always going to have goals saved above expected there. And they ended the second period, and you're heading to the third period shorthanded, and they killed it off. And again, you saw some of that physical play. Luke Schenn with a hit on Mason Marchment, who then followed that up later in the play, who had a nice scoring chance, and Hellebuyck had to make a save there. Mm-hmm. But then, I mean, this was the play that sealed it for me. It was the third goal for the Jets. Kyle Connor, he tries to make a move at the Stars' blue line, and it gets pinched away. And who's hustling back? It's Luke Schenn, who we noted not known for his foot speed, but he managed to get back at what looked like was going to be an odd man rush. Alex Iafallo kind of pokes it ahead, and Scheifele's there, and he pokes it to Kyle Connor on a breakaway for his 39th goal of the season. And This was a nice insurance marker for the Jets and really had them in control of the game.
For sure. And Kyle Connor, I mean, who would you rather have on a breakaway? At least for the Jets, it's easily Kyle Connor, but league wide, I mean, it's a very short list for players you'd rather have on a breakaway than Kyle Connor. And this is just the latest example. I mean, he makes Jake Ottinger go down, do the full splits, and still slides at 5-hole. It's an incredible move. And yeah, I also noted down the play that Luke Shen made right before it. The play that Alex Iafallo made to spin and get the puck to Mark Scheifele, who chipped it ahead to Kyle Connor, was a really nice goal for the Jets. And the whole sequence of events coming out of the third period was great. And the Jets actually outshot the Stars 17-7 in the third, which I thought is just a sign of a team that's pressing even more so with the lead. But they're up 2-0. They kill off this rollover power play that comes into the third. Hellbuck has to make a save off of Marchment, like you said, a good scoring chance. But then from that point forward, the Jets put this game away, and it was Kyle Connor with 2 goals. And I wrote this the other night in St. Louis, but it applies to tonight's game as well, Remis. And it's a great Winnipeg sports analogy, so I'm going to bring it up. You know when the Bombers have the ball and they're up a touchdown and there's 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter and they go on like a 7.5-minute drive just running the ball with Brady Oliveira. He's smacking his helmet like crazy and they just absolutely kill the clock. That's what the Winnipeg Jets have done in the last 2 games. They've been winning these games, but it doesn't change the way that they play. They're cycling the puck. They're getting shots on net. They're still pressing for chances, and it results in them going from a 2-0 lead and shorthanded coming into the period to a 4-0 lead before the 10-minute mark of the third. So that's a really good sign of a very good hockey team, is when you're winning, you're not sitting back and just praying that your goalie makes all the stops. You are putting the pressure on the other team and making sure that they still have to defend even when they're losing.
Yeah, the Jets really put the squeeze to Dallas, and they really couldn't generate anything after that. The game, I don't want to say it was over because, we just saw Dallas give up a 3-goal lead to Vancouver with a minute left, and there was significantly more than a minute left. But the way the Jets they were playing, they were not allowing quality chances, and they just need to stick to their game, as the cliche is, and they would be able to put Dallas away. Here, check out this visualizer here, NHL.com.
There we go.
Connor, you can see, I'm going to hit play. You can see Luke Shen, forecheck 10 there, and there's Kyle Connor comes in. Iafallo gets it, just dumps it to no one. There's Scheifele beating his man, and Kyle Connor with the breakaway goal. And I remember for a long time, when the Jets had a breakaway, they didn't really have a finisher. And Kyle Connor is certainly that. That was his 39th goal of the season, and he was about to hit his 40th goal coming up next. Let me just get to my notes here. It was Josh Morrissey going into the corner with a puck, throws it in front, and I don't know if Jared Anderson-Dolan was pulling the Mario Lemieux from the 2002 Olympics, letting it go through his legs, but it did, and Kyle Connor is all alone in front and just has to, I don't want to say tap it in, but he ripped it past Andre for his 40th goal of the year, his second time ever hitting 40 goals, and now he's at a career high 94 points, and that was the end of the Stars there.
That was the end for sure. That was the dagger. Kyle Connor with his 40th of the year. You might want to cover that guy wide open in the slot like that. An unfortunate bounce for the Stars, I guess, that it went through the legs of Jared Anderson-Dolan, because that's clearly where Morrissey was trying to go with the puck. But I don't know, props to Anderson-Dolan. I don't know if he meant to do it, but puck slides right through him. Kyle Connor's wide open 1 times at home. And yeah, that was the dagger. And the Jets, like I said, coming out of the third, just so impressed with how they played. Really that rollover power play, killing that, and then scoring 2 quick goals here for Kyle Connor to hit 40 on the year, new career high in points, 94 points. And that's all while being a much better defensive player than he has been in years past. He has completely revamped his defensive game, and it has not come at the expense of his offense. So this is easily the best season of Kyle Connor's career, and this game was another example of that.
Here, I should bring this up more. We should do this when we do the playoff games. Here's the visualizer. Look, this play starts in their own blue line. Puck gets picked off, and there's Morrissey just taking it all the way down, beats his defenseman, and throws it in front, and Kyle Connor all alone. You don't want to leave that guy alone. And the Jets now have goals from 2 from the top line, and you have 1 from the third line and 1 from the fourth line. That's kind of how they've done it all year. And the game's over, and I guess some shenanigans are gonna happen, and Ehlers goes in the corner to Sam Steele, and
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar with the term hip drop tackle from NFL, and kind of what Sam Steele did, grabbed him from the hips and pulled him backwards, and that's a situation where your legs can get twisted. You can get hurt from that, and Ehlers didn't like it. Gave Steele a really harmless shove, I thought, and Steele just gets up and whips him in the face with a gloved punch. I mean, that seems like a pretty overkill reaction, but if you're getting dominated and losing 4-0, makes sense. And Ehlers drops the gloves to fight, and you're probably thinking, oh no, Nikolai Ehlers, the Jets need you for the playoffs. What are you doing? It seemed like he really knew that too, because I don't think he really threw any punches and did go for the takedown when Steele was off balance. I don't know how you felt watching Nikolai Ehlers drop the gloves. I didn't really. You don't really want to see that, but you kind of respect that he stood up for himself.
There's both sides to it. Yeah, especially the fact he just came back from injury as well. Like he just missed the last couple of games and he's fighting, I think makes it sting a little bit more even. It's like, I don't want to see that 3 games from the playoffs. But hey, sticked up for himself and got the takedown. I agree with you. I think maybe it wasn't running through his head in the moment, but what ended up happening was he didn't throw many punches and didn't really risk an injury of any kind. The biggest risk of injury on the play was the hip drop tackle that you said there from Sam Steele. But yeah, I mean, Ehlers sticking up for himself there with a fight. It's his 8th fight of his career, which for a guy like Nikolai Ehlers with his size and frame, you would not expect to have 8 fights in his career. But he is not afraid to drop the gloves when something like that happens and when he gets punched in the face after a takedown. So yeah, you don't want to see it this time of the year for sure. But this Jets team sticks up for one another. They stick up for themselves, and this was another chance for them to do that. And Nikolai Ehlers took it.
Yeah, I thought Sam Steele was more in Nikolai Ehlers' weight class as he's kind of gone up and down. And here's Nikolai Ehlers' fight card. I know Kevin read this off on the broadcast. I looked it up at hockeyfights.com, one of the best websites for this sort of information. Tyson Berry, Colton Sissons, Brad Marchand, Ryan Getzlaff, Braden Shen, Sam Steele, and Brendan Smith. I remember the Braden Shen one didn't go so well. So Nikolai Ehlers, I mean, he's not afraid to stand up for himself. And I think when a guy like Glove punches you, I don't think you really have a choice. And I think he played it well, saying, hey, you know what, I need to stand up for myself, but also not get hurt. And the refs did give Steele a penalty for holding on the takedown. You know, maybe they could have given him a double roughing, like for the gloved punch after the play, but we're not going to get mad about officiating on this show. And the Jets had a power play, and I thought they moved the puck well. Iafallo had a chance. Mark Scheifele had a one-timer. You know, the power play hasn't been great since the Four Nations after being one of the best in the league for majority of the year. They're missing Gabriel Velarde, and you hope he can provide a spark when he comes back. But I don't think it's not like they haven't had movement on somebody. I thought it still looked good, but it was also like 4-0. So the game was over, and they're kind of just trying to kill the clock out.
And they also didn't have Nikolai Ehlers on the power play because he was in the box fighting. So yeah, I agree with you. The power play has been a point of concern, maybe even since the Four Nations break. Like it was so red hot going into the break that it was bound to come down a little bit, but maybe it came down a little too far. And then Gabe Velarde got hurt as well, and that really hurt things as well. But yeah, I like the movement on this power play. I thought Cole Perfetti had a really nice pass to Iafallo on the power play as well that set up Iafallo's chance. But yeah, it was a 4-0 game. So the Jets really just held on to the puck for the first minute of the power play. Yeah. They didn't even shoot. Like I think, yeah, you're up 4-0. You don't have to shoot. You've got a 4-goal advantage, right?
Yeah. And that was it. The end of the game there, Winnipeg Jets winning 4-0. They do have the 3 stars here at NHL.com. Morrissey, Kyle Connor, and Connor Hellebuck. Hellebuck setting a career high in wins, setting the franchise record for wins. You look at the league leaders in, goaltending. Well, he's leading every category: goals against average, save percentage, shutouts, wins. The Winnipeg Jets are about to, clinch the Central Division, clinch first in the West, clinch the President's. Well, could clinch the President's Trophy. Washington is 3 back of them. But you have to think Connor Hellebuyck, if you were kind of on the fence for him about MVP, he is 100% going to be a finalist at least. And you hope the voters, say, hey, it's okay to vote for a goalie, even if he's not playing all 82 games.
100%. Connor Hellebuyck is the MVP. Like, he has more shutouts this year. This is from Jesse Granger from The Athletic. He has more shutouts this year than 27 other NHL teams. He has 12 losses and 8 shutouts. 6 of those 8 shutouts have come against the Central Division, which are the most important games that you play. And in the biggest game of the year, on the road in Dallas with a chance to basically clinch the Central, he goes out and puts up a 24 save shutout. Like, this guy is the MVP. Leon Draisaitl's hurt right now. Leon Draisaitl's going to end up playing like just over 70 games. Connor Hellebuyck's going to play like 60. So, the argument that goalies don't play every game, like Leon Draisaitl's not even playing that much more than Connor Hellebuyck is. And Connor Hellebuyck absolutely has a bigger impact on his team winning as the goaltender. So if a goalie's not going to win this year, I don't know when. Connor Hellebuyck's leading in every single stat. He's the most valuable goalie. He's the most valuable player. He has more shutouts than 27 other teams. He has 12 losses. He has 45 wins. Like, Helly for heart. That's all I can say. And this was another example of that tonight.
Yeah, I think this I was maybe on the fence before, but he's leading in every category.
Yeah.
That hasn't been done. I think it was 1986.
And Remis, if they win the President's Trophy, they finish first in the West, first in the Central, and he maintains all these stats. Like, he's on the best team in the league and he's the best player. I don't know.
And
I think he should win it.
Yeah, on the flip side, you're going to look at the Jets' record with Eric Comrie, who's got pretty respectable numbers. At 236 goals against and 914 save percentage. There, he's 9-9-1. I think, and part of that is because they weren't scoring when he was in the net. But they're their 500 team without him, and with him, they're the best in the league, and that almost feels weird to say. Winnipeg Jets President's Trophy winners. We'll have to wait and see if that happens, Connor. But I don't know if you have any final thoughts here after this absolutely dominating 4-0 performance by the Winnipeg Jets in Dallas in the biggest game of the year, where they continue to rise to the occasion. And I just talked about how they've had set the season high in hits. Look at these numbers. Adam Lowry, 6. Brandon Tanev, 6. Luke Shen, 7. Big Stan's getting in there with 5. So they came in ready to play. They weren't going to get pushed around, and they really took it to Dallas. And 2 really big games against Dallas in the last month, where Dallas had a chance to take the division from the hands of the Jets. The Jets, put their foot down and said, no. We've been in first place since January, and it's going to end that way. So, 99.9% chance.
Right.
Absolutely. So I don't know. Any final thoughts there, Connor?
Yes, I absolutely do have some final thoughts. Every time that this team, this season, everyone is looking all year long for what the regular season means for the playoffs. What is this team going to look like in the playoffs? I think the biggest sign of playoff success that the Winnipeg Jets have shown this year is their ability to rise to the occasion in the big games. You brought up both of these Dallas games over the past month that the Jets have absolutely been the better team in. The Vegas game last Thursday, where they go on the road and shut out Vegas. Monday night against St. Louis, I'll throw that game in there as well. You hold a team that has won 12 straight games to 15 shots against. That's a statement win. Earlier on in the year, you lose 5-0 to the Florida Panthers. Your very next game is at home against the Florida Panthers. You play one of your best games of the year and beat them 6-3 at home. Like, all year long, when there's a big game, and we're on Winnipeg Sports Talk during the day talking about how there's a big game at Canada Life Center tonight, the Winnipeg Jets have delivered. That's why they're going to win the Central. They're going to finish first in the West, and they're more than likely going to win the President's Trophy. And I think they're going to go on a deep playoff run. They've shown me everything they've needed to in the regular season. That has told me that they're going to be a great team in the playoffs.
Yeah, hopefully it holds true. I do remember last year being excited about a big Winnipeg Jets win toward the end of the season when they won, 7-0 over Colorado, and thinking that was going to carry over. So it's possible, Connor, that we know nothing and we could take nothing from
That is true.
from any of this.
It's
But,
very possible. Very possible.
But I think all year they've talked about how they've learned lessons from that, and they've not only talked the talk, they've been walking the walk all year long, and tonight was another sign of that. So 4-0 for the Jets in Dallas. Franchise, so many career highs this year, franchise records happening, wins. I think they're just about franchise points, just short away from that as well.
Yep.
So they'll look to clinch the division, and then we can talk about, Saturday in Chicago, and then we'll see what the lineup looks like for the final 2 games of the year, and we'll get to talk about who the first round opponent will be, because that has yet to be decided. Connor, it was so great having you on. I'm looking forward to seeing what you and the gang have up WST Sunday Live, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on Winnipeg Sports Talk on YouTube and on the podcast. Give you a follow on X, Connor Hrabchak 1 as well. Always putting out some great info. For Connor Hrabchak, I'm Michael Remis. Thank you so much for listening to the Winnipeg Sports Talk post-game reaction.